ready to. We getting ready to. So ready to. Oh, so ready to.
I'ma go get it.
We getting ready to.
I'ma go get it.
We getting ready to.
I'ma go get it.
We getting ready to. So ready to. Oh, so ready to.
We ready for jump ball. Center court now. Standing tall now. Hold the fort down. This is showtime. More than sports now. More than crunch time. We rush like fourth down.
I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. We been on that paper chasing all that fashion. We been on that paper chasing what you ration.
Been in the grind now. We ready for prime time. Ready for shine now. We ready to get mine. On the rise, all eyes up on us now. Blast off spaceships till the touchdown.
Energy level on high. Put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. Energy level on high. Put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though.
We getting ready to. So ready to. Oh, so ready to.
Shout out to my man Quo. I'm also in a duo called ProQuo, and he's here in spirit on the hook of this one right here. Shout out to Legendary Freedom Corner brand. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. First, no family in the building. Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir. Let him know, Quo. I'm feeling good. Listen, you can place me in the verses with these rappers, it's hot. I will place them in these hearses in the back of a box. Catalog and stretch jack in the box. On the ground, I am legend, the original plot. Thought provoking, how I'm poking and stoking the flames. Free to riding on some Stokely, boy, changing his name. Changing the game, my whole education was lame. Mega Evans, no one ever even mentioned his name. Martin even him in the quarter of page. Learned nothing about that corner where that freedom was laying a shame. The many corners with his MLK. Full of bars, pulling hard, still things ain't changed. We supposed to leave the hood, or is we supposed to refrain? Trying to play the Eric's most rare of post King James. Spin flames, how we handle that heat. We made that rosary, what me and my Omari, I'm doing that, I was supposed to. I'm feeling good, y'all. First, no family is in the building. I'm feeling good, Quo. Yeah. Let's take it down a little bit. Listen. I'm like, first, let us remember, it is not possible to have an appreciation for the amalgamation of civil rights legislation and outcomes without first pausing to remember the assassination of black leaders like Martin and Malcolm. Now, son, please do not confuse my passion for African American activism as pacifism for when I witnessed the division in classism. Passing kids at the cafeteria table split up more painful than sadomasochism. Listen, if Brown v. Board of Education put an end to segregation, and tell me why I see no brown skin faces sitting at this table with all these Megans. Face it, hi Megan. Face it, you have locked yours, and one time or another when a brother from a different color has approached your door. Even though it's not 1954 64 no more. Sometimes it still feels like only a few years before 64. For sure. Yeah, we made improvements, but we got further to go until I no longer need to be proved. My baby boy might end up just like Emmett Till. Still, I have to teach him stand his ground for all these races. Might attempt to make him turn it down like Jordan Davis. And these are just the faces on the news that never famous, but for every Trayvon Martin, there's 100 unsolved cases. Mass incarceration that replaces the plantations, boatloads of African Americans like slave ships. So thanks, Miss Alexander, but we got much worse than before, because now they literally making billions on the job for you to call. Dressed in uniforms for sure at these federal institutions, civil rights are well denied by this legal prostitution. So what's the solution? Well, I say, let's start with college presidents. The ivory tower needs more melanin, more estrogen, more feminine. And just in case you might have confused me as the new version for some Eminem, well, I've never candy coated up my lyrics, what's the benefit? Cause that would be irrelevant in a time when non-intelligent lyrics and rap music is what they peddling as the precedent. Suppressing the positive messaging of the original four elements that's hip-hop as a culture, now subjected to their censorship. Well, I am here self-evident, no cursing, non-repetitive, and instead of just battling rappers, well, these days I'd rather mentor them. Against all these impediments and prejudice, Confederate flags, they flew with pride as they tried to produce evidence of race superiority. Of race superiority. Race superiority tried to civilize the schools. They tried to civilize the natives and prove Africans were fools. See, these universities were tools for them racists spewing madness, but before them land-grant colleges said there was nothing much for blackness. And before Barack Obama said there was nothing much for blackness. But now he got me asking, who's accountable at the moment? For human rights, it's unacceptable. Guantanamo's still open. Still, he got me hoping civil rights are not ignored. Sure, 1010 is not the answer, at least the minimum is now more. So what do we have in store for all these kids from urban areas when separate is not equal, but the schools are still inferior? See, the barrier to becoming a scientist, or like me, a college mathematician, is when kids are passing calculus but cannot do addition. See, when I was young in school, I used to listen to New Edition. I was like, can you stand the rain? Yeah, I wanted to be just if they told me I'd have listened. So wherever the role models, the actors, the models, producers for tomorrow show our scholars that there's honor in a way to clock them dollars. Beyond just popping collars and beyond just popping bottles, beyond Beyonce on a surfboard, there's more to work for than McDonald's. See, we can solve our problem with a different point of view. More diversity, our scientists are way too far in view. So who will be inspiring the future generation? Respecting education starts with teachers, how we pay them. So let's pay some attention and keep up the vigil fight till our health and wealth disparity is not no blemish on civil rights. Alright? Good night. I'm Professor Liverpool.
He's going out across colleges and schools teaching people all things. It's not just division, it's unity, right? And that's where it really, really gets. And that's the message we're
Yeah, it's Pro.
So, if you want to reach out real quickly, even if any educators in the room? No, make some noise. Any educators in the room? All right. Oh, raising their hand like, yes, Professor Lyrical. But for me, it's about increasing STEM degree attainment, basically for traditionally marginalized populations. And so, you don't want to get into the round, but I had the ear of kids, and so I could say, look, math is cool. Science and technology and engineering and mathematics are just one pillar of truth. For me, they're the ones that resonate with me the most. When I think of quantum mechanics, when I think of nanotechnology, I think the closest thing we have today to magic. Like, if you really understand what's going on at a quantum level where particles act like waves and waves, my math skills in on the side. Most kids don't have that opportunity. It was cool for me to be like, Flipping and ripping and shoving, nobody has ever been able to keep with the lyrical skill. Like rhyming real fast. Or I'd sit in my room all day. When I be getting the rhythm and then I'd be really beginning my rhyming and making a miracle out of material lyrics that never been able to find in the fountain, come out in the mental and physical, literal, come in the pinnacle, medical, mineral. Then I get into what no one has ever been able to go with the lyrical flow. Thanks. That was cool. They liked it too. Yeah. Many colleges with as many entry points into. I have a book that's all about this. It's called Put 'Em All to Shame. I took my album and all my songs and I correlated it to all the chapters in the book. I call it an al book. And I wrote about some of those entry points. One of the entry points for me has always been the history of the music industry, how it basically is an enslavement situation where you have a label making $10 traditionally for when they sell a CD and the artist gets one. And the artists are lining up to do this. Like, please let me be down. Let me get $1. Get $1 million advance. You have to basically sell back 1 million records to actually pay off your advance. $9, meanwhile, going to the label that the label's clearing in profit. I teach this lesson in my classroom. I was lucky enough to have Chronicle. That's not a cool business plan to be in, unless you want to convince a kid that you should be on the other side of the desk, right? Why don't you be on the executive side of the desk and get some of that street entrepreneurialism into your hustle? Because this just isn't doing it for me. And when kids find out, basically the end of the joke here, it is a joke. In fact, it's a sad joke that you're going to owe money after your first album, even if you've gone platinum. What you're realizing is that what you've seen on TV is a lie coming from the powers that be, from the Clear Channels, from the Live Nations of the world that are, not to say that they're evil people, but the business mechanism is basically consolidation of the media and the airwaves that young kids are not even aware of. Bring a 17-year-old into your class and tell them that Universal essentially is GE, right? And that it essentially is NBC, and oh, by the way, it's essentially going to be Comcast. And they're gonna go, what?
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us.
What's good, everyone? Pro Lyrical here. Hey, what a lot of y'all may not know about me is that I do impressions. And see this man on the shirt right here? Of course, that's Yoda, right? Shout out to my son for getting this for Father's Day. Yoda, best dad ever. My family knows I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I'm also a big Muppets fan. And the impressions that I do a mean Kermit the Frog. And so I've talked about it before, but it dawned on me that's Frank Oz, and he does Yoda. And literally today, I realized, hey, I can probably do Yoda because I can do Grover. And somehow, as a huge Star Wars fan, it never really occurred to me to really try Yoda. So I'm gonna give you a little sample. First, I'm gonna start out with Kermit the Frog. All right. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. Someday you'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da dee da da dee do. Okay, it would help if I learned the words. I get it, but you can tell that that's right there, right? And so I rap, and the thing is that I could rap doing Kermit the Frog, you know. So like, let's see, hi ho, it's Kermit the Frog, right? And so if I wanted to go frog and rap fast, I could be like, when I begin in rhythm, and then I'd be really beginning my rhyme, Kermit will jump around and he will leap from his hind legs onto a lily pad. You know what I'm saying? Is he really bad? Flipping and ripping, hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. You get the idea, all right? So that's Kermit, and I'm just doing it right there. But Grover here, right? So that's Grover, right? Piggy is the same voice, right? So like, Kermit, you know, like when she's getting mad, it's that voice. So you can hear the Yoda in it. So check this out. To my surprise, I was looking up some Yoda quotes. I got them right here on the computer. I really know most of them, unfortunately, but let me try this one. Ready? Never done Yoda before today. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. You must unlearn what you have learned. Do or do not. There is no try. When 900 years old, you reach, look is good, you are not. When you look at the dark side, careful you must be, for the dark side looks back. Named, must you fear? Be before banish it you can. That's true. You will know when you are calm, at peace, passive. Now, what if Yoda wanted to rap? That'd be crazy. Like, Yoda, flipping and ripping the shine, nobody is able to keep it delivered. Yoda must try to be dope with the rhyme. Right. Anyways, anything in the Frank Oz wheelhouse my voice can do. I can do a lot of other characters too, but that's just one that I've practiced on before, so I got the voice right. Like, Grover here, right? It's in that realm. So peace. I'm pro lyrical. Somebody shout out Disney. I need to make that call happen. Let them know. And you know, this is me after 50.
Yeah, I think it's my turn. I burn, waiting for the beat break to turn again. Spin around again, I rhyme off the head. Oh, what the H-E-C-K. Heck, gotta keep it clean and PG-13. My son is here, he's actually 6, now I mean. He's actually far away from the speakers, cause he knows he got a loud daddy who's named Peter. Michael Blow, I spit the microphone raw off the top of the head, but I wanna come written. I'm waiting for the beat to start switching, to see what's brewing and what's mixing in the kitchen. Yeah, I think I hear it in the back. Thank you for RBI, I'll get that hit off that, yeah. And let me see how it feels. Let me test drive that beat right now for real, yeah. It bring me back, in fact, I wanna say peace to my man Mazzy for that, yeah. We got that word beats in life, of course, lyrical, murders the mic, with beats I like, I might go precise, so flip off the top off the roller, but C-I-C-E, see me, the CD play, when I come off the top, yo, there is no way, Jose, like, I don't know, I flip off the top, one of the take out the beat of the bottom of Espanol, yo, how to do it for you, you know I represent for here for that DC, think you all nice and then beat out that, I bring it back off the top and I don't need to I said shout that, but we're spitting. I come quick with that ridiculous type spit. Yes, I see you posing and you holding on the C-A-M-E-R-A. I spelled it like K-S-O-L-O. Flow off the mic like jello. That don't make no sense, but I grab the microphone and say, hell no, I'm not done. Free it off of my tongue, my head when I brung from the lung to the tongue at 21. Son, yeah, I'm older than that. I hold the microphone with beat, I come back and react. I pass it. I think somebody needs to score like a run batted in, but a basket for sure. Yeah. Score like a run batted in, but a basket for sure. Yeah.
I am Senator Bernie Sanders, And I am here one day after Super Tuesday, and we are witnessing a hit job. Now, when Senator Warren, who I deeply respect, is gaining in the polls, and she's not even in the election for all intents and practical purposes, it's time for her and I to come together, because I think a Jew and a 1/64th Native American woman together can do great things. But here in DC, the home of corruption, I mean, we have Amazon just down the road, and Jeff Bezos is a billionaire even after giving half his fortune away to his wife. Now, it does not take a mathematician like Professor Lyrical, who, by all accounts, next to Pete Buttigieg, is also a whippersnapper, probably somewhere in his 40s, compared to me. But clearly, she is still in that billionaire class. He's still the richest man in the universe. Now, or maybe them young'uns at Walmart, where their workers are only making $15 an hour. It's outrageous, and we need to come together as a party to fight this corruption. So, my friends, Bernie Sanders is here to say, no, I have faith still in the Democratic Party, which is not really my party, but I have faith. It was not fixed, it was rigged, or another word you might know, collusion. Now you see the problem with collusion, my friends. You know that word. Yep, collusion against me, because they do not want to see me at the top of the ticket. So
Be that ill bomb, make an ill song, never been wrong, ill nah gone, nah. I heard the beat change right there, yeah. I think I heard a little switch in the air, yeah. Is that funk flesh or cap? I don't really know. Flipping off the top, I don't have to go. I don't have to flow. It don't have to snow. But it comes down in June, you got half the dough, yo. And that ain't really even true, but some places probably is. But not here, that's your own biz. So don't mind it, yeah, rewind that. You should really mind it, yeah, I find that. When I rhyme and freestyle like this, I got a nice mic over here, but I don't think I even need to mix with it. I'm just on the phone, cause this quality is nice enough alone. Yo, I've always shown that I got them skills. Behind me, my man Donnie, yo, he got them skills, yeah. He's nice with the graph, get his autograph on the bottom side of my picture right there, and don't laugh. Cause that's me. So is that guy there. He's teaching class and he don't have any hair. Yeah, I'm well prepared every time that I free. You should see me off the top when I'm draining them threes. Or the freeze, cause I shoot them real nice. Look it up, Professor Lyrical, 10 straight, take my advice. There's many videos out there that you can find. Probably me shooting frees or threes behind the line, yeah. They move the line back a little. But still when I bend my knees just a little itty bit, it still comes up with the chisel. That means it's perfect, etched, correct. Never do I
It's pro. Not enough words. Not enough instrumental. Because I got too many bars. Let's do it. Intense clarity, you are viewing a rarity, glaringly to the obvious. Novices don't compare to me. Fairly remarkable how there was no one comparable, unstoppable. How a clobber competition is comical. Bunch of comedians needing someone to laugh at them. Don't even know what the talent is. Like one of the many Kardashians. Too many are actors and not enough of them practicing. Actually want to be rappers, just think it's magically happening. Well, I got news for them skills I have of unusual, musical, superhuman, scripture in old Jerusalem. Improve perpetual, always room on my schedule to better myself on my level of lyrical skill beyond incredible. Evoking excellent sentences that are architect the consequence awareness for upper levels of consciousness. But I'm over the genre of the Dalai Lama, Mahatma Gandhi, maybe Molly's baby mama mixed with some Salvador Dali. Let everything in Da Vinci with lyrics Leonardo like beautiful as a Halle Berry, believing with my model wife. A lot of my life has been dedicated to excellence. My regiments have been well documented as evidence. Never been one of them rappers about hate and fear spitting. So the written's more quoted than Shakespeare and Dickens. An architect directing up the Taj Mahal, marvelous monument, a master of ceremonial novelist. Mighty as hard rock is the problem. Has never been confidence. It's modesty. Too much cash money, but on the marvelous. Too many Remington, Aston Martin topics and on the profit. So it's a wonder I never be talking but Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad. Alarming them while they monitoring all my diagnostics. If y'all don't believe in the God, you're diagnostic. I tried watching that Cardi B and Megan chick. Wop, wop, nah, I'm more about relationships. Even my name, it's lyricism personified. Professor lyrical, all materials bonafide. Deep game on the aftermarkets, we customize. Mustard on the James Bond, Aston Martin, modified. Serial killer for Skrilla, hip-hop and homicide. Fingerprints all over this trigger moments I wanna hide. All of my warriors carry, they fully authorized. Keep a team of shooters around me, Big Willie, Cardi Stein. From long range to Braun James, from on stage. Some wanna be famous the wrong way, so launch name. Beyond shame, these topics we wanna glorify. Normalizing violence, communities ruined, horrified. Demoralized. And his rhyme is lie about our schools producing shooters like Reggie Lewis and Dunbar. I saw just eating more than all this time. Morning pouring cereal, vitamins all been fortified. Before they 4 or 5, kids can lose the joy inside. Father time waits for no man who doing 4 to 5. Important times like skills hard to quantify. Even over boom bap beats, still see modernized. Confidence in it, we won't apologize. Be the change we seek, peaking on Spotify. Let's lead the people away from evil, be traumatized. To we the people, the truly equal and organized. Corporatizing snakes in my lawn, cancel the fraud. Spit that mongoose flow, y'all can handle the bars. Trying to question Lord Claude, y'all gonna answer the God, bro. That's not a good look, like you in sandals and thongs. I've gone from musical additions to losing some competition to the hottest group rep in Massachusetts. New edition, using opposition for food in the kitchen, not into loot of the rich. It's just too ambitious for doing dishes. It's the truest believer since Buddha and Jesus, leaders and rulers, even the Peters and Judas, Brutus with Julius Caesar, true deceivers, living more foolish than Ebenezer Scrooge's evil doers, not knowing riches, lead us to rag and ruins, tagging students, shooting up schools, barracudas, double barrels, lugers, and eagles, teachers with no solutions either. Lose a weep of rags to the riches, you aren't choosing either. Find me at Rockefeller Plaza, skating to Nas's ether.
We never talked. There was a time when there weren't enough words to say.
First things first.
Is doing me right. It's gonna be like 70 a couple days this week, and you know, normally in higher ed, which I'm in, we always talk about spring semester, and I always got upset, especially when I was in Boston. I was just up to Boston. Shout out to Boston. When I was at Northeastern, you know, I'd always say, stop lying. It's not spring semester. Why do we even say spring semester, especially in Boston, right? It's like there's nothing spring about it. I mean, we're only in school for like a week of the spring, because I mean, pretty much by April 1st, there's nobody there anyways. So effectively it's all winter, but here, I mean, it does feel like spring, for sure. I don't even need the sweatshirt on right now. It's still pretty nice, but I know it's gonna drop real quick when this sun goes down completely. Just want to talk about New Year's though, especially if y'all going back to spring semester, if you in school, or your term if you're not in higher ed or whatever you're doing. I feel like there's a deficit mentality with all the New Year's posts. And what I mean by that is you always see this, yo, what are you gonna do differently? Like, what different things are you gonna do to change your world and all this kind of stuff, where the assumption, almost like deficit mentality, is that there's something that needs fixing for everybody, right? Like, as opposed to the word improve, like you could do a lot the same that's working, right? If we assume things are working, and then tweak those things maybe that aren't. But we never say, or at least we don't say often, and so I'm saying it, what are you going to do the same? Like, what is working? Share that, you know? Because I always feel, you know, you hear all this like, I don't really do New Year's resolutions. Maybe it's because of that. Maybe because it's sort of this negative vibe and connotation ascribed to New Year's resolutions, because we're always thinking about what things we're going to do differently as opposed to what things we're going to continue. Like, personally, it was a pretty good year, you know, for me, in my life. My dog is twisting me here. So there's a whole lot that I want to do the same, you know. Of course, there's things you want to do better, but differently. It's like, you know, I do a lot of basketball shooting on my Instagram page and so forth. You can easily see, right? And it's like, you practice it to get better at it. It's not so much that you need to do too much different. You just need to practice it. You do need to build up sort of the understanding with body and mind of how the ball goes in. And once it goes in, you keep working at it. It isn't always about, you know, overhauling the shot. Sometimes it's a tweak, and sometimes it's just plain repetition. You know, I go out and shoot 300 shots a day at least, try to put in like 250 at least of those shots. And it makes a big difference. I haven't tweaked anything. I've just been out there practicing it. Sure, every now and then, you know, you'll be like, oh, I got to remember to have, you know, better extension on my shot. And it tends to go in when I remind myself of that. But it's not really like any kind of an overhaul. It's like really what I'm going to continue to do is working on the fundamentals that have got me there, as opposed to trying to come up with the magic pill that we always see, especially all over things like Clubhouse and so forth. Everyone's trying to sell you the magic get rich quick thing, which I never subscribe to. I'm sort of a long run person, by just, you know, putting in the time in the gym. You know, that's the metaphor that I'm choosing and I'm sticking with. So what things have you been doing that you want to continue? What gym metaphor do you have? It might actually be the gym, but what things do you want to continue doing? You know, maybe you dropped 8 pounds this year. Maybe you want to continue doing the gym to drop 8 to 10 more, right? Or maybe tighten up or what have you. So that's how I think that it really should be pitched. And of course, yeah, I'm not a big New Year's resolution person because I'm always thinking about, you know, goals in sort of a smaller time frame. You got long range ones too, and you think in terms of, you know, what am I going to get done this week kind of thing? What am I going to get done this month? The year is just one more marker, right? I don't think there's anything special about 365 days unless you're the earth and the sun and you're worried about revolutions. But other than that, there's nothing special about that. We don't really notice that except for the seasons, right? So it doesn't have to be a year marker, and I get that. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm out.
This is a fire.
Here's the basketball. Pass it to Daddy. Oh, good job. Wow. Yay, Henry. We did it. We did it. Here you go. Good pass. Good pass. Yay, Henry. Ready? Let's see if we get it. Oh, we missed. We missed. That's okay. We'll get it in next time. Ready? Here we go. Whoa, good pass, Henry. Yay! We did it! Yay! Yay! Bouncy, bouncy. Here we go. Yay, Henry. Good pass. We did it! Yay, Henry and Daddy. We did it. Nice, nice. Good job. Yay! Good job, Henry. Good job.
When a brother from a different color has approached you.
Yeah.
Face it. You have locked yours at one time or another when a brother from a different color has approached your door. Even though it's not 1954 no more, sometimes it sure feels like only a few years before 64. For sure. Yeah, we've made improvements, but we got further to go until I no longer need to be proved my baby boy might grow up just like Emmett Till. Still, I have to teach him stand his ground for all these racists might attempt to make him turn it down like Jordan Davis. And these are just the faces on the news that now are famous, but for every Trayvon Martin, there's 100 unsolved cases.
So I've been rapping for quite a long time, since I was a child. Previously, I taught math 7 years for Northeastern University, but I've also taught at a total of 10 universities and 137 different courses. My name is Professor Lyrical, or Dr. Peter Michael Plord. We're here in my office at the University of District of Columbia. It's kind of like where academia meets hip hop for me, and that's real cool. I think it's empowering for students. I think it's empowering for all the faculty to realize you can bring in sort of your personal lives and your authenticity and your truth, and bring it into the classroom as well, and students respond to that. So when I speak and when I get a chance to do faculty development, I talk about ways to bring hip-hop pedagogy into the classroom or into the college campus to create more meaningful, safe spaces for students to express themselves and find their own truth through their voice of hip-hop and hip-hop community.
And it creates discourse. And it's a powerful tool, a pedagogical tool in the classroom. If you want to speak about any social justice topic in the classroom, including gender, hip-hop is your platform.
And bring the intersectionality of our different lives together and be authentic with it, and not hide that and shield that from our students who are desperately trying to find out how to meaning out of their own lives, how to deal with their truths that they face on a daily basis, and to how to make viable careers out of their passions. Almost as soon as I got here, a Pitch and Flow event took place at the Kennedy Center, using hip-hop as a voice for the entrepreneurs who are on hand, that were mostly green entrepreneurs and folks committed to social change through their own innovations. We get to be the voice for that and rap the lyrics, sort of the soundtrack, if you will, for these companies. I was fortunate enough to win the event. It was a wonderful taste for me of what DC is all about. Show up to perform at an institution, I'm always sure to bring in those worlds and show how those intersectionalities make for something more meaningful and powerful than the traditional classroom.
And teaching. Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? Let's get right into it. My name is Professor Lyrical. You can see the writer shirt. I'm an MC. If you're not familiar with me, I've been a rapper for like forever. I'm also an educator. I teach math. I'm an associate professor, and I've done a lot of adjunct teaching. Probably taught 150 to 60 college courses and many years of high school as well in my home city of Lowell, Massachusetts. I got to go to both Lowell Public Schools and Chelmsford Public Schools at a young age. Graduated from Chelmsford High School, and then later UMass Lowell with both my bachelor's and my master's, and later Northeastern University with my doctorate, where I also taught for 7 years in the foundation year program. Now I'm at UDC, which is a historically black college and university. It's the only public land grant. It's the only public in DC, but it's public land grant with a crazy background and how it came to be the University of District of Columbia. So enough about that, enough about me. What I really want to talk about is people that look like me, though, right now more than ever. And it's something that I really want to say. So I've been doing a lot of talk, podcasts, these kind of things with people about, you know, whiteness and what it means to speak in these times and what I think would be helpful. And one thing I really want to enunciate clearly is that I don't think white people are doing enough. I don't think people that are privileged are doing enough to talk about that privilege and to call a light to it. To try to help either level the playing field or at least put a few things out there that may wrinkle the feathers of some other white people. So here's one of them. If you are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is that you're on, right, and you're engaged in a conversation and somebody jumps in on that and they're a troll, I got plenty of trolls, and I wouldn't even call them trolls. They don't have to be trolls. Just people with descending agreements that are, you know, throwing salt in your post, and you feel the need to cancel them and you don't want to hear them, and they haven't really talked in a way that is 100% like blatantly disrespectful. Like you might disagree with it, but you're not giving them that forum to speak their mind, and you just let them go off and you just cancel them, and nobody else gets to really see or hear or comment on that as well. Is that really helping? And my answer would be, I don't think so. And I get that there's a point that we all got to get to when we say, hey, that's just patently disrespectful. I'm not going to allow that kind of talk on my page. Whatever, that's all good. I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about when somebody gets on and they have
maybe a underpinning of you know, a taint of white supremacy in their talk, or racism, what it may be, and it's not overt, right? Because a lot of people, I think white people confuse racism that it has to be overt and in your face, right? I now live just outside DC. I live in a beautiful little community, as you can maybe see behind me. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia, and you know, in DC, you know, or in the South here, as we're just, you know, kind of over the borderline by a bit of what is the South. You know, people in the East will commonly say Boston, be like, oh, at least it's not the South. But I would say, nah, at least it's not the East, because the East, you got this kind of covert racism and this coded language where people don't say it to your face, but they say it behind the scenes. And similarly, what happens is, you know, it's good to know where you stand, right? It's good to know if it's overt, right? And you see a little bit more overt racism in the South, right? But, you know, at the end of the day, what's the difference if your access is being denied and there's two different standards on the playing field is now level, right? Like, at least you know who your enemies are, right? And when you're in the more South, and I'm not saying this is the worst, you know, you can get a lot more hardcore than what we are, that's for sure. I mean, what we are is actually, you know, pretty decent. As far as I can tell, right? But you know, but when you do a little digging, when you go just under the surface, even on these Facebook and social media posts, you know, what you'll see I got plenty of friends who would call themselves allies or whatever it is, but they're not saying anything publicly. They let it slide, man. They will comment to me. I got an inbox. If I could share my inbox and not people on blast and talk about how aghast we are about the stuff that's happened, right, since before George Floyd, right, and after, and the way that their friends and peers and coworkers are talking, it's full with that. I become like some sort of a dumping ground, I guess, for some of that, right, because people know that I'm speaking about it publicly, so they may not feel comfortable to speak publicly, and I understand that pressure, because there's some white supremacy affects white people too. Like, we're scared of the privilege, we're scared of maybe losing it, or we're scared of you know, speaking out at the workplace or whatnot. And I get that, that's real. I'm not saying everybody has to, you know, be all up in somebody's face, but at a minimum, if you're not comfortable enough calling out a post when you see it on your own page, let alone on somebody else's page, and speak out against it, and you're just sort of behind the scenes talking about your outrage of it, where are we really getting? Because that's justifying and being complicit in the situations that are happening. So if we're calling for officers who we feel are complicit in the George Floyd case, for one, and I do, you know, agree to that as well, shouldn't we be at least holding people, you know, accountable for what they say, to check them? I'm not saying cancel them. What does canceling them do? They just go spray the vermin elsewhere. You have an impact. Looking like them, right, more so, and disagreeing with them, you have an impact. And that's that kind of, you know, white supremacy in reverse kind of thing, because they'll probably have tougher time disagreeing with you. At least they might be open to it, where they wouldn't be open to it coming from somebody who looks different than you. And really, quite honestly, it shouldn't be the job of black and brown people to be the crusaders for anti-racism and activism, which we know it usually is, right? But we start all this talk about allyship, which is a funny term in itself, and you know, there's plenty of literature out there about is that really even the right terminology? But the terminology aside, you know, it hints at the fact that, you know, there's a good article recently about this, hinting, which is something I've always felt, which is that's the wrong term in the first place. Like, ally with what? Like, it should be the other way around, right? Like white people know this is going on. We don't have to be allies. We should be the ones instigating and leading the charge to call out, you know, racism, hypocrisy where we see it. We're the ones with less to lose, you know, less to lose. We don't have lives to lose usually as a result of this, right? We might have some, you know, discomfort to lose, or, you know, we might have people in our family or our friends not see eye to eye with us, and it might get uncomfortable at Thanksgiving and so forth, you know. But really, we're the ones that have less to lose, and we should be more active. Why would you not want to lower or level the field, I should say, in a white supremacist world? Are you happy with your accomplishments if you know that other people have been, you know, sort of starting behind the finish line when you're starting at, you know, at the starting line, and they're like 10 yards back and you're running the race? Like, are you happy about that? Like, you feel proud about that? At a minimum, you should be looking for it everywhere you can, so that your accomplishments aren't discredited, so that your achievements aren't something that you have to be like, well, yeah, I kind of achieved that, but then again, no, you know that access to higher education, or the quality, you know, K through 12 education is lower. We know that property tax is a problem, that is segregation in its realest form, you know, dictating what our schools look like and how well funded they are. That's BS, right? Call it out whenever you have the chance. And I'm saying, call out people when you see them doing this on social media, because it shouldn't be left to the typical quote unquote crusaders who are usually, you know, or Black Lives Matter or whatever, what have you. It shouldn't just be groups that are predominantly led by people of color that are doing this. So call out your own friends, call out your own family, as uncomfortable as it may be. That's the smallest price you can pay to help in something that you should be seeing that for generations has not been fixed. It's easy to look like I do and sit back and say, you know what, like things are improving. Are they improving fast enough? Have enough lives been lost? Have enough people been humiliated, ridiculed, denied access, barred from entry, you know, outside of the club, so to speak? You know, like when do you call BS, right? When do you call it out around you and start to not be a coward and call it out for where it is? And speaking of which, I'm going to call out directly one group that is on social media, that is on Facebook, that is a private group, and I don't think the intentions were malice. And again, I'll preface this with, it's easy for me to say as someone with the privilege of having a reliable income stream and being generally okay, right? So it's easy for me to say, I'll acknowledge that privilege. Will you acknowledge the privilege if you're inside of the Reopen Mask group? Have you looked inside of that group? If you haven't, I encourage you to do so. You know, counteract the BS. When I say BS, I don't mean the sentiments. I understand the real sentiment of losing a job and, you know, waiting for, if you work in a restaurant, you're a frontline worker or whatnot, you know, it may be different. But if you're one of these jobs that depends upon, you know, public patronage to actually, you know, make a living, I get it. It's a real frustration. But when that frustration turns into white supremacist like lingo, and the words become racist, and it becomes a disrespectful way of talking to one another in these posts, which, by the way, a bylaw said that shouldn't happen, and it goes somewhat unchecked as far as I can tell. I've been in there for a couple months. This seems to be a straight one-to-one overlap in terms of the Venn diagram of white supremacist or privilege, which is a close cousin to the same word. I mean, they're almost one and the same, except one sounds worse than the other, right? And with those in the COVID-19 reopen movement believing it's all a great hoax. Is that because the conservative Republican top level person thinks that is the battle cry, that it should be that COVID-19 is a hoax? Or is it because of something else? Is wearing a mask so much of a problem to you that you think that this is an affront to your civil liberties? Like, first it's a mask, and then it's communism? But yet we're not calling out people that are supportive of Putin, right? Like, where does the BS end, right? Like, it's hypocrisy at its finest, and the language becomes veiled and vile when somebody suggests something like, well, maybe that's not what the data is showing. First of all, science is changing all the time. It's in flux. So people trying to say scientists don't know and experts don't know. No, they actually do know. They know enough to wait to see what the data says. But we're in this rush and crunch, and everyone wants data. You're going to see some data that's less than typically reliable that it usually is, and it will get checked by the peer process, at least in time. So yeah, it's confusing times. We're dealing with a pandemic. Nobody has all the answers. Scientists aren't supposed to magically have all the answers. So to criticize the quote-unquote experts and use the quote-unquote tag as a dismissive term, right? And to say that suddenly you, and check who you are too. Like, what is actually your science and math background, or what is your, you know, health background? Because you read a couple posts on Facebook, and that you want to hit like next to, that you're now suddenly an expert we should listen to because you have one piece of very partisan data that you want to put out, and when data is usually not data, it's usually just opinion pieces that are being flaunted as you know, concrete expert you know, fact, right? And then we deny fact checkers, we deny the media, we deny that there's other, you know, it's this question of, is there an objective or subjective truth? And I would argue that sort of the subjective, you know, reality that we're in now has kind of blurred the lines, and people now vent and they get into these rooms. But what happens is you see the white supremacy come up. The language is coded. Sometimes it's very overt. And I would say it is unbelievable the amount of privilege that goes on in these rooms. I get the sentiment of being frustrated, but the amount of white males and females in there screaming about the fact they have to wear a mask. Nobody's screaming about having to wear a construction hat on a site when there's less than 1% of people ever getting harmed in the head at a construction site. Nobody's complaining about having to put on a seatbelt, right? Nobody's complaining about stopping at a stoplight, but yet putting on a mask. It's a great affront to my civil liberties. Like, you snowflake, right? Talking about the progressive left as being snowflakes. Seriously? Yo, shut up is what we all want to say to you. So I'm saying it, close your mouth and read a paper, okay? If you're frustrated, then hey, what's good, y'all? Professor Lyrical. Y'all see where I am. It's a good fitting, good backdrop. Just wanted to mention that yesterday August 24th, if you haven't heard, the FCC proposed a $5.1 million fine on conservative voting suppression tactics that were used. There were phone calls that went out, robocalls, with an African-American woman doing the script, and basically saying to voters, obviously their intent was to get potentially African-American voters riled up in the Detroit area about the idea, the false idea, that the voting would allow people to have their names onto a voting register that the police would use, and that all kinds of other things, all kinds of conspiratorial kind of stuff that just patently wasn't true, would be used to, get them if they had previous outstanding credit problems or whatnot, just making them think that this voting by mail thing was a big scam and just trying to stop them from voting. So this was red-handed found. So what I wanted to do is just remind people that if you believe voting doesn't matter, why would people go through such outlandish attempts to make sure that your votes are suppressed? We know redlining has happened for years in communities of color. We know that gerrymandering has happened to make sure those lines are redrawn in ways that favorably support both sides, really, the Democrats and the Republicans throughout the years. But as of late, it's overwhelmingly Republicans who've used this tactics over the last couple of decades to their advantage at an unbelievable clip, that have kept it kind of close, even though the majority of people in this country are Democrat voters. So just wanted to remind all the young people out there, especially people in the hip-hop world, who often, we get in debates a lot. We talk about, does your vote matter? And it's very easy to just say, oh man, my vote doesn't matter. If it didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying to suppress it. All right, y'all. Peace.
Scott, how does this work?
Yeah, so very simply, any investor can go to masterworks.io, create an account, and invest in blue chip artworks. And historically, these are paintings that are multi-million-dollar paintings, which people haven't had the ability to invest in unless they have several $1 million to buy the painting.
And you
All right, your turn.
Hi, Pat. We're the Plord family. I'm Nicole, and this is my husband, Peter, also known as Lyrical.
Lyrical.
We recently relocated from Boston to the outside of D.C. area with our gorgeous son, Henry. And I am a corporate coach during the day, and in evenings I'll take him to Taekwondo, and I'll do Taekwondo myself.
Okay, and you owe us a name explanation.
Yes.
Whatever you have to say.
Well, it's Peter, but I'm an associate professor of mathematics at the University of District of Columbia, where I'm also the director of faculty development for our community college. The name Lyrical is from Professor Lyrical. I'm also a rapper. I've been rapping my whole life long.
Okay, now I understand. It's good to have you guys here. Your turn.
Hi, Pat. My
Ball's coming with you. I'm in. Peace, y'all. That's lyrical. That's 10 straight. Well, 11. Peace.
I hope you already know, man, there's a shark in the water. So all y'all in the top 10 who didn't double down, didn't listen to any advice out there and just let it be for the people who needed the lifeline outside of the top 10 to double down, I think that's a big mistake. Personally, I'm insulted because I am that shark in the water. And when I'm swimming, where you're swimming, it ain't safe. So peace to the gods, peace to everybody putting this on. Thanks to the advice to improve the sound quality is what I'm trying to do. And I think all y'all should follow the master class, man. No diss, but I hope y'all feel okay. You sound good? Listen, I am the sickest alive. Somebody saying they sick of they lie. Listen to theirs, listen to mine. Thinking they better, they got it, they mind. Time when I be getting the rhythm and then I be really beginning my rhyming and making a miracle out of material lyricist. Never been able to find in the final, combining the mental and physical literal. Call me the pinnacle, medical mineral. Then I go into it, no one has ever been able to go with the lyrical flow. So great advice was improve my sound quality. Ironically, so could your list. Remove sound quality. And probably while you're at it, you can lose 5 more. And yo, I saw where my name is at. How you like 5 more? Sure. I love my man Beast. I'm a truthful guy. But if I'm high in this top 10, it's not 2 through 9. You feel me? Truthful reply. I'm a fan of myself, though. The only one singing pro, that's the man on my cell phone. So, in my shell toes, I stand symbolically, because I'll never be tongue-tied. I owe no apology. Well, probably the 5, because he's a rhymer that's raw. So you can catch the high 5, too. Minus 4. You kind of saw? Any of y'all, put up your pile of cash. Except for A-Guard, you should pick up your pile of trash. My bad. You homeless, dude? I'll offer you a spot on the couch. Stop squatting garbage off the route like you Oscar the Grouch, no doubt. And Lord Tariq, you sounded weak at the end, because you pulled a hard and that wasn't 50, more like 40 and 10. No trippy red, messy, and singing all out of tone. Your vocals no longer in sync, that's Joey Fatone. You not alone, Danny White. Yeah, he messed up his bars, but he came back twice as hard, dressed all nice in his car. My God. Oh, I mean, Jesus, let me pay him some homage, because you were... Well, actually, I've forgotten. And yeah, I read them comments from that kid Sin City. Look, I barely ever curse, but honest, your shit was shitty. And Benji, doing the 50 wearing your shades is gay, because that's a bitch move, like watching 50 Shades of Grey. Because hey, if you ain't reading, what's the reason you need him? So I agree with Jez. Maybe that's the reason he's sleeping. Agreeing, the closest thing you'll be hearing is spitting on Shade 4-5s, 4th of July, sitting in shade, drinking a Coke 4-5, no lie. And I ain't trying to say that I'm clearly the best, but whoever is still in my shadow like Imperial Lex, I'm tearing you next. Your whole verse inferior text. I'll rate it somewhere between a rapist and venereal sex. My material fresh, write like 50 versions a week. Catch a body like the 50 murdering in the streets on beats. How many rappers are coming and thinking they 50 bars are better than M's when they ain't even seeing 50s bars? A disregard. They're hard there and diss these frauds and serving them real heat, quick like a dish thought. I'm still hungry, even though lyrical got a nifty job. Hustle in my blood, beating like Nipsey's heart. Look, get a bachelor's and a master's and a doctorate degree. And the day though, yo, I'm really just an ill MC who still MCs. The colleges, corporate events, stay in hotels, steady be traveling, much more than my friends. A featured speaker, giving them interviews to the media, then giving the college lecture, then I'm clicking on Expedia. Look, Peter be booking himself. Peter really took himself. Wicked Peter serious, search him. He wrote a book himself. Certainly looking for help, but none were on my schedule or level. Most settled or good, but I'm on incredible though. Ain't trying to play large, but really get taking no days off. A 2-car garage and I'm a Mercedes-Benz is paid off player, but I'm laid off. My car repossessed and I've been arrested. Debt collectors, yo, calling DSS. Stress getting the best of me. Blood in my gums, chasing funds with a propensity for butter and guns. I utter the stuff with the pen, so vain you're impressed to keep the 16s 100 presidential address. Non-inaugural, but skilled on this mic, speak truth. Joel Wilkes, how I killed the 16 in the booth. The way I'm rocking it, rep it like I'm Peja Stojakovic. Been able to carry this 50 on my back. David Robinson, honest. I promise only way these wins again if y'all pray to A God and not some Jesus and dread. What inspires you? What do you aspire to? Can you think of a place and time that you'd like to retire to? If you can, then I admire you, but I cannot lie to you because I am not in the frame of mind where I'm even trying to. Think about the future that our leaders may conspire to, where the highest of them all was always sort of like, you're fired, dude. So here is what I've tried to do. Find the right attire to convey to you my passion goes beyond a simple tire to. I'd rather find a tire tube, slip and slide on the ride or two at a water park, but I'm not gonna start, just act like I'm required to. Take the 2 weeks paid on some vacation in the shade, then act like I am something other than a modern slave. Of course there are no chains, I'm not degrading that reality, I'm just simply pointing out we all are jumping over salaries. So where's the liberation when a vocation or a trade is so totally consuming we consume from where we're paid? Where we're still afraid to break the chains of our oppressors. And it starts for me each day when I place my chain upon the dresser. Whether I reach for something boring or the Jordans that are fresher, the snapback and the t-shirt or the sport coat and a sweater. Sometimes we let our voices in our head become our bosses that tell us how to dress and think and act inside our office. The point I hope I'm making is the bondage can be mental and it trickles down to rappers choosing words on instrumentals. We act like we're compelled to follow rules and make decisions based on policies and codes that oftentimes are never written, just to fit inside a mold that we are cast upon ourselves, on some cookie cutter templates that we bury on our shelves, burying our souls inside a shell of our true selves that we rarely show to others for a fear of losing wealth, a fear of losing safety for exposing who we are. So our Superman stays hidden and all we give him is our Clark. Our Spider-Man stays hidden and all we give him is Peter Parker, but we don't need Diana Prince to wonder what a woman offers. Several authors masquerade as just a faculty and they hide their superpowers they've acquired somewhat naturally. See, rhymers actually, to me, with all this substance, have more superhero in them than the entire Hall of Justice. So shall we crumble by letting somebody else judge us, or will we stay socially conscious, letting nobody come bully or budge us? Because you cannot be a buttress or pillar for social justice when the subjects you discuss come complete with a but list, like you can get with this, but you would never touch this. You can get with that, but this ain't how you function. What a gumption it takes to come and make such an assumption of what subject you subject all of your loyal subjects. What's suspect are advocates who sort of pick and choose which type of equality it is that fits their views, for which they highly advocate to click and give them views, politically or religiously, as they sit on stump or pews. While the world was stuck on Trump to give their advertisers views, half the world was stuck on stupid, but our students must refuse. Because you is not an activist if you were just an actor that's progressive part and parcel for the roles that you are active with. In other words, hypocrisy should not be public policy. You cannot claim progressive and be fine with the misogyny. You cannot preach diversity and talk about equality when part of your agenda lacks a gender-focused policy. As members who are probably supported economically in Congress for the longest stretch of time, then stretch the honesty up like a contortionist, distorting all the facts, blurring what's important, throwing the donors off the tracks. In fact, you are the problem that you're hearing on the news if you're laughing, cracking jokes as women are hashing out Me Too. So we should hash this out right here and now for all the view, for those who simply get the news by watching Fox or on The View. Like who? Got on them Louboutins or the fanciest pair of Gucci's when they letting on any Dick or Tom or these Anthony Scaramucci's. We truly need alternatives from our news and from our journalists to push back against the hatred and the racist and the murdering, supplying that counter narrative. We searching for it long last when NBC is Universal, which was GE, stolen by Comcast. It's hard to know the contracts and ownership percentages and what's in our best interest as consumers, who's protecting us. So here's what my suggestion is: go hard because life is short and just consider all them sources.
Hey students, my name is Professor Plord and my baby Henry is in the background. I think he wants to be on camera as well. We'll see if he's talkative, but if he's not, I just wanted to welcome you to the course and alleviate some of your fears. First of all, statistics. There'll be no math that's any harder than finding a square root. Most of the math is just adding or multiplying. I hope that helps you. Some of the formulas look funny. Hi, Henry. There's Henry. He wanted to say hi. And but we'll just learn that vocabulary. So the first homework assignment is about learning the vocabulary. It's in mymathlab.com. You just log on. It says it should take you about 30 minutes or so, maybe account for double time on the first one just to get used to it. And we'll do all our homework on mymathlab.com, so it's imperative you sign up for the course Compass, which is the same thing, and we'll get started. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Hey Bay State students, my name is Professor Plord, and
Yeah. Pro. Calvin Crime, baby. Yeah. Whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. People trying to play it cool like Pastor Dave. See, a whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. Trying to hide behind it feels like a big charade. I strive for excellence, rhymes that I spit, line with intelligence. Program mathematical flows, y'all know the measurements. My whole regiment's gold status forever been. Throwing these leather bombs, you can catch jewels like Edelman. My rhyme crafty, pearls of wisdom like Enderman. Handle the 850, I sport like Eddie Andelman. Boston radio legend, truly a veteran. Do it for several decades, very few have been better than. I've been investing myself, setting the precedent. That's how I always made it through anything that's depressing them. I go back to the well like it was medicine. My leather Bible of lyrics, a couple feather pens. We all hurt and stay introverted as skeletons. The key for me, just a few friends and relatives. That's how I never been overwhelmed by the sentiment. Everyone going through, I just juicy pizzas, adrenaline. Whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. People trying to play it cool like Pastor Dave. See, a whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. Trying to hide behind it feels like a big charade. A whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. People trying to play it cool like Pastor Dave. There's very few people you can save from themselves and their health, how they misbehave. You can't rush another like Ukraine. I'm just trying to help my brothers stay out their grave. Sisters, mothers, and the fathers who came before us all, since the drawings on the walls of caves. We all simply trying to leave it engraved, make a mark like graffiti till we seeking to change. Yeah, we creators, we ain't see it the same. More time for MC and freestyle on the stage. The pandemic brought incredible pain. Those who perish gave merit, how we spend our days, nights. They call us hermits, all we heard was the names. Fights, ain't extroverted, but for certain my name in lights. This is therapy, music, harmony, melody. Using my gifts and memory, all those who left ahead of me. Whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. People trying to play it cool like Pastor Dave. A whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. Trying to hide behind it feels like a big charade. A whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. People trying to play it cool like Pastor Dave. A whole lot of people done passed away. Round the globe got us looking like a masquerade. Since 2020, many masked their pain. Trying to hide behind it feels like a big charade.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It's okay. You don't, Henry, you don't have to run, bud. He knows you're coming. Or you could, saunter and jog. Hey, Henry, you missed the house. Right here.
I didn't even notice it.
Ha, Triple R, baby. We just begun so far with the strummer guitar, so let me set it off and tell you that the sun is a star in the center of the solar system, filling the void along with comets and the planets and the asteroids and meteoroids and dust. But remember this fact, and if you do, you'll be heading to the head of the class. In fact, the sun makes up almost all of the weight of our solar system. Sun is 99.8% of it all. That means it's one heck of a ball. The energy of the sun is supporting us all. Important to call it by its right name. You know what it is. Energy from sunlight through photosynthesis. It benefits it in the flowers to get the sun's power. The earth revolves once over 24 hours. Now it's better remembered as the length of a day. So it doesn't matter if it's in December or May. It's still the same. So don't be fooled in school like a dunce. Cause 1 year it takes the earth to spin around the sun once. 12 months to orbit one way around. It takes 365 days they found. So now you're prime. These numbers you'll remember and rhyme. The earth's tilted on its side 23.5 degrees like a G, you wanna lead in that ride. And it's for this very reason we get seasons of time. Come on. Gravity is the force we feel.
a few facts about the moon, how it provides the ocean tides and stabilizes the room. But actually, dude, though true, what is actually felt, the moon stabilizes the whole axial tilt. So fasten your belt, cause if you come along for the ride, you could fall or rise like the level of tide. Forever you'll find that the moon and the earth are related. Fatal like attraction as the tides created. The size is spacious, our moon sorta large with girth, but its diameter is only about a quarter of Earth. For what that it's worth, it's Earth's only satellite known. Largest moon of the solar system, spinning round its globe, and it's been shown the moon, it affected our sphere and may have helped develop life through our temperature here. So now that we clear about the Earth, the moon and the sun, y'all repeat the hook cause this tune is done.